कुंज बिहारी जयो राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी यो राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरवरधारी यशोदानंदना ब्रज जन रंजना नंदना ब्रज जन रंजना यशोदानंदना ब्रज जन रंजना यमुना तीरा बनचारी यमुना तीरा बनचारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा हरे रामा राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे हरे Hare Krishna. So next we're going to say the invocation prayers. So we take blessings from the Lord Shri Krishna himself and the Guru Parampara. So all can repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namah Om Agnyantya Mrandasya Jnananjana Shalakya चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपां साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथां वितां तां सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितां च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। So welcome to the Friday Bhakti Vriksha. Is the sound echoing? It is too loud. Can you just lower it? Please come. Namaste, namaste. Aiye. So nice to see you here. Namaskar. Hare Krishna. We are doing a systematic study of 4 books recommended by Srila Prabhupada, which is a must for all the devotees to progress in the bhakti. Bhakti starts with faith, Shraddha, but then it requires knowledge. Unless one acquires the knowledge, it is hard to progress in faith from Shraddha to Ruchi to Dhyan and Prema. So the knowledge is acquired by studying the scriptures or listening to the senior devotees and associating with senior devotees. So we have started study with this Ishopanishad, and actually we have finished studying the Ishopanishad, so this is just a revision we'll be doing in 3 sessions. The Shri Ishopanishad is recommended by Srila Prabhupada for the sole reason because of our limited senses and our abilities. It is very hard to grasp the concept of Ishvara or the Supreme Controller, because we tend to judge or understand things by material means, by the material knowledge that we have acquired being in this material world, which is temporary and is full of misery, mixed with some fleeting happiness. So to get the concept of Ishvara or the Supreme Controller, this Ishopanishad is recommended by Srila Prabhupada. And in this book, which is, I'm going to make this session a little interactive. So this Ishopanishad is part of which Veda? Do we know? Since we are studying it again, so I'm going to ask some questions, make it a little more interesting. Yes. So Ishopanishad is actually part of Yajur Veda. All the Upanishads are part of Vedas, and they are actually the crown jewels of the Vedas. They have been handpicked because the Vedas are huge. So the Acharyas have handpicked some portions of the Vedas and turned them into Upanishads. And what is the meaning of Upanishad? Anand Vihari Devi, what is the meaning of Upanishad? Yes. So Upanishad is made up of two words, Upa and Nishad. Upa means to study and Nishad means to sit by. So the meaning is that we learn this knowledge by sitting at the lotus feet of our Guru or Acharya, in this case is Srila Prabhupada. The meaning of Upanishad is to sit in the feet of the Acharya and learn. So a simple question, how many Vedas are there? 4 Vedas. In the beginning, it is said there was only one Veda. But then Srila Vyasadeva divided the Vedas into 4 parts. Do we know the name of the Vedas? Right. So the Rig Veda and this Yajur Veda, so this is part of the Yajur Veda. So the meaning of Isha is the Supreme Controller. So when we say Ishvara, which actually means the Vigraha of the Supreme Controller or the form of the Supreme Controller. Everybody in this material world tries to control over others, over the material nature, try to own and claim things, claim proprietorship. But as we understand from the Vedic literature that the supreme controller is Ishvara, that is Lord Shri Krishna. So there are 108 Upanishads and Ishopanishad is one of them. And we said Upa is near, Nishad is to sit. The meaning of Veda also means knowledge. Then we hear quite a lot about conditioned soul. This term is used very often. So, what do we understand by what is conditioned soul? Can somebody tell? Yes, very good. So, what happens? The soul, as you know from Bhagavad Gita, is part and parcel of Shri Krishna. So, since Shri Krishna is Sachidanand Vigraha, even the minute soul particles that we all represent also are eternally blissful, full of knowledge and consciousness. But when we come into this world and we acquire this material body, we start to believe that we are this body and we forget our real identity, which is the eternal soul. So with that conditioning by the material nature, the soul becomes a conditioned soul. So it's not the fully revealed or manifest Sachidanand form, but is conditioned, contaminated or covered by the force of Maya or the external energy of the Lord. And the conditioned soul, which we all are now in this material world, in this material bodies, have 4 major defects. And what are those 4 major defects? Right? Right? Yeah, to be illusion, yes. To make mistakes, yes. Excellent. So the 4 inherent defects in all of us is we are bound to commit mistakes. Nobody can claim that he has never made any mistake and is not going to make mistake. And it's easy to become illusioned because of our limited senses and knowledge. And then there is always a tendency to cheat others, which is inherent. And whether one acknowledges or not, maybe from childhood till now, we might have cheated sometimes. So that's the tendency that comes with this conditioning of the soul by the material nature. The other thing we learned in this portion of the Ishopanishad was that there is nothing like Hindu Dharma. The term is Sanatan Dharma. Sanatan means eternal. There is no beginning and there is no end. Or it's called Varnashram Dharma. The Varnashram is 4 stages, that is the Brahmacharya Ashram, Grihastha Ashram, Vanprastha Ashram and Sannyas Ashram, and 4 categories of Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra. So that is the Varnashram Dharma. Then we also learned about Shruti and Smriti. So what is the difference between Shruti and Smriti? Right. Right. So if somebody is telling and somebody is hearing Shruti, so all telling and listening is Shruti? Like when we getting ready, Anand Vihari was telling me something. Is that Shruti?
It's related to Krishna, not
Yes.
from the Vedas and the...
Right, right. The bona fide knowledge that is delivered by Shri Krishna himself, by speaking to Brahma and Narada, that is the Shruti, and then it continues in the disciplic succession from the Guru to the Shishya, as we have our Sampradaya representing the lineage of the Gurus starting from Shri Krishna himself. So that authentic bona fide knowledge that is transmitted by the spoken word is the Shruti. And Smriti is, as you rightly said, whatever we remember or anybody remembers, and they write like the memoirs, people write memoirs or their memories in their diaries. So that is the Smriti. So the Shruti, Prabhupada says, is like the mother, because when a mother tells that, so-and-so is your father, one has to believe de facto that she is telling the truth. So that Shruti is compared to the mother in the Vedic literature. Then we also learned about 4 kinds of understanding. One is the direct understanding, which is the Pratyaksh Praman, that something happens in front of us. Then there is the hypothetical understanding, that is the Anuman. Anuman means to guess or guesstimate. People try to hypothesize things. There is a full branch of hypothetical physics. Then there is historical understanding, called Itihas or Etiha, that people learn from their ancestors, what happened in the past. And without that historical understanding, we will not know from where we are coming, what was the conditions in the previous times. But it may not be accurate because it can be, modified by people who are transmitting. So that is not the Shruti. Although it is transmitted maybe by speaking and hearing, but it's not the Shruti. So that's a distinction. Then understanding through sound or Shabd, that is the Shruti. That has to come from a bona fide source and it has to be authentic. Okay, then we came to the term of Dvija Bandhu. So in Vedic literature, one is not a Brahmana by birth or by belonging to some family. Brahmana is a qualification. One has to study and acquire knowledge and perform austerities and observe a very disciplined life to become a Brahmana. A person who is born in the family of a Brahmana but is not qualified is called a Dvija Bandhu. So that's a term we need to remember. Dvija Bandhu means a relative of a Brahmana, but he is not a qualified Brahmana. Then we also learned Vedanta, which means ultimate knowledge. It's not the end of knowledge. Ant means end. Veda is knowledge, but Vedanta means the ultimate or the highest knowledge. And Srimad Bhagavatam is the natural commentary on Vedanta Sutra. So we come to the invocation shloka of the Ishopanishad. That's how the Ishopanishad opens, with the prayer to the Supreme Lord. And we also all should memorize this shloka. It's recited in many ceremonies and in many auspicious occasions. And it goes like this, and you all can repeat after me. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnam Udachyate Purnasya Purnam Adaya Purnam Eva Vashishyate. So what it actually means is that the Supreme Lord is the perfect and complete. And because He is complete and perfect, all emanations from Him, such as the phenomenal world and the universe, also are perfectly complete. And whatever is produced of the complete is also complete in itself. And after producing so many completes, whatever remains is always complete. So the example I had given was of the mother. The mother gives rise to a child who is a complete being in itself, but the mother is still remains the same, the mother. So that's the closest comparison one can come to. Okay, and then Prabhupada talks of the impersonal Brahman or Paramatma, the super soul, that people who try to think that the God is not a person, is just an abstract super soul, do not have a complete realization of the absolute truth. And it is described that the people who meditate on the formless or impersonal means which is not personal, doesn't have a form, they reach only the Sat feature. Sat means the consciousness. And the people who then try to acquire knowledge and try to know the Supreme Lord by knowledge, get the Chit feature. Chit means the knowledge. But only the devotees who worship the personality of Supreme Lord Shri Krishna as a person get the third stage, which is the Anand or bliss. And that's how they become Sat, Chit and Anand. So Sat and Chit always comes along with the Anand when one worships Supreme Lord in the personal form. And this Ishopanishad will establish slowly that the God is a person, is personal and not formless or impersonal. And then we learn about Vigraha. What is the meaning of Vigraha? Vigraha means a form. Yes, a person or a form. So, Ishopanishad establishes that the complete whole or the supreme controller is a form, a Vigraha. So, it is said that all the facilities are given to the small complete units, that means the living entities, the human beings, to understand the complete whole, but it's only up to one to endeavor to understand that. And we know there are many species of life in this material world, not only on this planet, on many planets in this multiple universes, and they are an 8.4 million species, or 84 lakh yoni, as they say. And the human form is the highest, given the full manifestation of the chitta, that is the consciousness, to engage in the service of the complete whole, to understand and get liberated. So then we come to the first mantra of the Ishopanishad, which explains the principle of Ishavasya. So we can recite this mantra. Ishavasyam idam sarvam yat kincha jagatayam jagat Tena tyaktena bhunjitaha ma gridha kasya asvedhanam. So it means everything animate, living or non-living, that is within this universe is controlled and owned by the Lord, Ishvara. One should therefore accept only those things necessary for himself, which are set aside as his quota. And one should not accept other things, knowing well to whom they belong. So the Supreme Lord has actually provided everything for every living entity, from the ant to the elephant. The ant eats, just one grain of sugar, and an elephant can eat a full farm of sugar cane. But everybody is provided by the Lord, but everybody has their own quota. So when we talk about, carbon print or, being responsible to the Mother Earth, this is given long ago in our Vedas, that one should restrict oneself to the quota and not try to consume more than required or endeavor to, acquire more things and consume more things and enjoy more things. So that is the principle of Ishavasya, which is a very important principle. Then we come to the two terms, para and apara prakriti. So para is always good, which is, param gati, and we hear this very often. And apara is the opposite of para. So para is in the spiritual sky and is the internal potency of the Lord. And apara is the inferior or the material energy. Can you check my phone is ringing? It's in this. Maybe the hospital is calling. So one should accept. Just excuse me, let me answer this. Sorry for the disturbance. Hello?
It's holding. Can you take the call?
Yes.
Okay, connecting.
Hello?
Hi, Dr. Bardwash?
Yes.
Yes, I just wanted to call you early enough. I wanted to ask you about Christine Hoff. She had the right renal biopsy, the random renal biopsy.
Mm-hmm.
This morning, and she came back around 11 o'clock. I'm new on, of course, this evening. She does have an order for Lovenox this evening for 40 milligrams. Do you want her to have that?
Who ordered that?
Let me look for you.
No, we should hold it till tomorrow. We should not give her Lovenox.
Yes, that's what I was concerned about.
Yes.
Let me look here, and I'll tell you who ordered it. Slow, my computer. I'm just glad I could get you early. I did try calling you before, so I apologize. But I wanted to get you, like I said, before 9 o'clock if I could. Let's see. That was ordered by Frankel.
Yes, okay. Cancel it, and we should not be giving any Lovenox till tomorrow. Okay?
Okay, I'll go ahead and just place it on hold, and then if somebody could address it tomorrow, that'd be great.
Okay, wonderful.
Okay, thank you very much.
That's it?
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Sorry about that. Part of the material world. So, Prabhupada says that, the human race should take to the Vedic wisdom of Shri Ishopanishad as so nicely explained in the Ishavasya principle, and should not fight over the material possessions or privileges that is provided by the Supreme Lord. And also here, in the purport, Prabhupada points out the fact that just by becoming a vegetarian, one should not think that he's not committing any sinful activity, because even the vegetables have life. The plants have life too, that we all know. So we have to do something much more beyond that. Just being vegetable or just being a nice human being, not hurting anybody or not causing harm to anybody is not enough. As we'll slowly learn in this Ishopanishad, that the human life has to transcend all these things to get liberated. So the root of sin is deliberate disobedience of the laws of the nature, through disregarding the proprietorship of the Lord. So when one forgets that the supreme controller, Ishvara, is in control of everything and actually is the proprietor or the owner of everything, and we have been just given custody of, say, whatever car we drive or whatever home we live in or whatever possessions we have, are just given a temporary proprietorship to us according to the laws of the nature. And one should not start to, think that they own everything forever. Then we come to the mantra number 2, and we can all recite together. Kurvan evaha karmani jiji vishech chatam samaha evam tvai nane athito asti na karma lipite nare. So this mantra says one may aspire to live for hundreds of years if he continuously goes on working in that way, for that sort of work will not bind him to the law of karma. There is no alternative to this way for man. So this shloka very nicely explains the laws of karma and also tells us how to get out of the cycle of this karma. And it is, a well-known fact that everybody wants to live very long. Even when we bless somebody, we say, may you live long or may you live for 100 years. So that is not a bad thing. According to Vedic literature, it is natural because the soul itself is eternal. So when it's encapsulated in this material body, it still wants to have that nature of living forever, but not realizing that this body cannot live forever. So other life forms also are subject to cycle of birth, death, but only when one attains the human life, which is the topmost species in the 8.4 million species, they get a chance to break free from the chains of karma. So karma, akarma and vikarma, these are the 3 terms that we learn from Bhagavad Gita. Can somebody tell what is vikarma?
Activities that are not in connection with the scriptures.
Right. So all activities that are against the injunctions of the scriptures, all called the vikarmas. And karma is a broader term. It, in common parlance, means all kind of activities we perform is karma. But according to Vedic literature, the karma are the prescribed duties as mentioned in the scriptures, are the karma. So when one performs vikarma, which are against the scriptures, and usually bad, abominable things, one has to suffer the effect of that vikarma and is thrown into the lower forms of life or goes into the lower planets where they have to suffer for a long time. Whereas karma, or some people call it sukarma is actually not a term used, which are actions performed according to the prescribed duties, still one has to stay in this material world to enjoy the good effects of those karma. So one still does not get liberated. So still one has to be born. So if you do some good things, you have to come back again to, benefit the fruits of those good things. So you're still in the cycle. The only way to get rid of the cycle is to perform a karma. So there is an a in front of karma, which means actions which have no reactions, which have no consequences. And what are those actions which have no consequences in this material world, but they do have consequences in this spiritual world, are the devotional service. And devotional service just does not mean performing arti or doing, dressing up in dhoti and putting tilak and, saying Hare Krishna. devotional service is a whole spectrum of things, starting from chanting the Mahamantra or the holy names, to performing various services to benefit the other devotees, being servant of the servants, serve the devotees wholeheartedly, serve the community, serve the Arch-Vigraha of the Lord in the altar, perform altar services, perform any cooking services. All these things that one does for devotees or for the Supreme Lord come under the category of akarma. So even if you are doing other things which may be karma, will then be burnt like, it's described in this Ishopanishad itself, when a fire is thrown on a haystack, the whole haystack is burnt down. So these akarma activities, the devotional service, not only have no reactions which binds us, but also will burn the other karmas. And this is what we learned. And then there are a lot of terms that we hear, and a lot of people who come to Krishna consciousness, they keep asking, what about, serving the poor, Nar Narayan or Daridra Narayan, or Nar Seva is Narayan Seva? Why we not doing that? Why we just chanting and doing devotional service in the temples and homes? So that many terms Prabhupada mentions: altruism, socialism, communism. If you talk to communism, they say, oh, you are doing bad. Everything should be divided equally amongst everybody, and everybody has to work according to their capacity, but should get a share according to their need. That's the theory. And then there is nationalism. People fight over countries and borders. They try to build walls and things like that. And humanitarianism. So these isms are very attractive, and they come under the karma bandhana. Still, they are good karmas which bind you. So one is not discouraged from performing good karmas, but as we learnt, you still get the reaction that you have to come back again to enjoy the good effects of those karmas, of that altruism and humanitarianism, or serving the other people. So it's good to do those things, but you have to perform fair enough amount of akarma or devotional service to balance and to get out of this material world. So Prabhupada gives a very nice clue, and Shri Krishna actually gives this clue in the yoga in action, karma yoga, that if you perform these isms, but you keep Krishna in the center, then everything you do becomes a karma. What a wonderful concept. And if one practices it, like when I answer the phone, I should think that, okay, Krishna wants me to do this and I'm doing it for Krishna. Then whatever I'm doing, it's not for my, living or for my making money, it becomes a karma. And this is given in chapter 2, verse 40, as mentioned here. So a humble, God-centered life is more valuable than a colossal hoax of a life dedicated to godless altruism or socialism. So Prabhupada is discouraging, or Ishopanishad is discouraging us not to live, very high and fly, but not have Krishna in the center, because that's not going to take us anywhere. And also then Krishna promises, and Srila Prabhupada is mentioning in Bhagavad Gita, that Arjuna asked Krishna, if somebody, does devotional service, engages in bhakti, but what happens if he is not able to complete, his journey in this life and is not able to go back to Godhead? Then what happens to him? What happens to all his labor? Is it all lost or what? Then Sri Krishna says, no. Whatever akarma or bhakti or devotional service you do in this life is carried on. Like we have in the cell phones, carry over minutes to the next month. So these are carry over credits of akarma to the next human life. They are inexhaustible. They are ever accounted for by the Lord. What a wonderful concept. So then we come to the Ishopanishad mantra number 3. Let's all recite. Asurya nama te loka andhena tamsavarataha tamste pratya abhigachanti yeke chatma hano janaha. The killer of the soul is a very ambiguous term because the soul is indestructible, cannot be killed, cannot be cut, cannot be dried, cannot be burnt, as we know from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2. But here the killer of the soul is mentioned, and we'll know why. Whoever he may be must enter into the planets known as the words of the faithless, full of darkness and ignorance. As we mentioned in the previous verse, whoever is performed vikarma goes to the lower planets or is born into the lower forms of life. And this verse is confirming that. So human life is very rare. We have to go through a cycle of 8.4 million species of life. What a long period. The tortoise live for 400 years. And elephants live to 125 years. So we have gone through all those forms of life, 8.4 million. And now we have come to this human form of life. And if we don't discharge our duties as human beings and not, perform what we are supposed to, we will be transferred to the Asurya planets and take birth in the degraded species. We'll go into lower forms of life. So in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, 41 to 43, it is stated that a man who enters upon the path of self-realization, again same thing, and cannot complete his journey in this life, is born in the family of Shuchi or Shrimat. Do we remember what is Shuchi and Shrimat? No, that is Shruti. This is Shuchi. Shuch means pure. So Shuchi is in the family of the Brahmanas or, priestly class or the devotional family. Right? So all our children, Sughosh and Madhav and all, they're all born in the Shuchi farm. And Shrimat is? Yes, in the rich families, merchant or, well-to-do families. So these facilities are given by the Lord. So if you are born in a devotional family, automatically you will take it to devotional. We see our children playing mridanga and playing kartal from very small. And when you are born into a rich family, you don't have to worry about your living and other needs. So you can devote more time to devotional service if you want to. So those who do not even make an attempt and want to be covered by illusion, the Lord doesn't disturb them. He lets them do because He is given that independence which He has in full. He's given that part independence to us all to do whatever we want to do and enjoy in this material world. So then there is a term that at least Sri Krishna himself gives it in Bhagavad Gita. Is called Atma Sambhavita. So Atma means self and Sambhavita means, puffed up or, very proud of himself. And these are the people who make a show of religion. They are devotees for show off. They like to dress up, put tilak and talk of devotional service, so they learn a lot of shlokas, but they are not in the real sense devotees in the heart. So they are called the Atma Sambhavita. So Prabhupada always warns about fake gurus and Atma Sambhavita and Vedvrata, all these terms he uses and explains. Then this terms actually comes from Shri Krishna. So then we come to the mantra number 4. Anejad ekam manaso javyo Nedan deva apanuvan purvam arshat tad dhavato anyan ateti tishthat tasmin apo matarishva dadhati. So now after explaining the need for us to understand Ishvara, by explaining, our 4 defects, then talking about the karma and vikarma, and then what the consequences are, and explaining, how rare this human form of life is. Now, Ishopanishad is trying to establish who that supreme controller is. So they're saying that although fixed in his abode, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Ishvara, is swifter than the mind. We know mind is very fast. We can be here in a moment, we can be in India. So, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is even swifter than the mind and can overcome all other running, the powerful demigods. We know Vayu Devata, we know Sun God with his sunlight can be very fast. But the Ishvara is even faster than all these things mentioned. To give us an idea, because with our material knowledge, we can only relate to mind, wind, and sunlight. But we can then at least have a little glimpse of what Ishopanishad is trying to tell us, that Supreme Lord is inconceivable. He is much more than whatever we can fathom or see in this manifested material world. So we have to go beyond all these material things and our senses to understand and get this into our head. So he controls those who supply the air and rain. So Vayu Devata and Indra controls rain. They are all under the command of Ishvara. He surpasses all in excellence. So when we look at the material nature, we are awed. We go to the Grand Canyon and we get, oh wow, what a beauty of nature, or such a deep canyon, and the river is running through it, and we see big mountain, Everest and all, and we get awed by the. So the Ishopanishad is telling us these are nothing compared to what the energies of the Lord or His powers are. These are just glimpses. So similarly, Prabhupada gives an example of the sun or the fire. When the fire is in one place, it can give light and heat to quite a distance. So similarly, the Ishvara sitting in the Golok Vrindavan controls everything and can transmit all his energies all around the, not only material universe, which is only 1/4, Ekpad Vibhuti, but the rest of the spiritual realm also, which is the 3/4 or Tripad Vibhuti. So the Lord's energies are innumerable, and they are divided into 3 principal categories. Do we know what those 3 are? Antarang, yes, and Bahirang, and the Tatastha or the marginal. So we belong to the marginal energy. The internal energy of the Lord is the spiritual. And then the external energy of the Bahirang is the material or inanimate creation. And then there are hundreds and millions of subheadings to all these categories. So it is said that Ishvara, Shri Krishna, and his energies are non-different. So Krishna is the Shaktiman, and all the energies are Shakti. So like you cannot separate the sun from the sunlight, so similarly one cannot separate Krishna from those 3 categories of energy mentioned. So they are one and the same, and they are non-different. So this 4th mantra of Shri Ishopanishad very clearly suggests that the absolute truth is ultimately the absolute person. Because if he is not a person, then how can he run faster than the mind and the wind? And how can he do all those acts that he performs in controlling the rain and other things? And in the next verses also, it will establish more and more that the supreme absolute truth is a person and not a formless or abstract God, as the impersonalists try to believe. So the parts and parcels are never equal to the whole. So if one says that, my hand is my body, it doesn't make sense. So all these hands, legs, everything makes up the body. But the individual part is not the full body. So we are all parts and parcel of Krishna, as Shri Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita. So we cannot assume that we are, God because we are part of it. We are just a small speck compared to the supreme form of the Shri Krishna. So, Shri Ishopanishad with these slokas are also warning not to try to establish the identity of the Supreme Lord by mental speculation or hypothesizing. One has to try to follow these mantras and try to reach the conclusion as much as possible. Still, the Lord is inconceivable and will reveal, although in the end, when one submits to the Lord completely. One should try to learn the transcendence from the Lord Himself. So we should try to, okay, so when one should try to learn the knowledge of the transcendence from Supreme Lord Shri Krishna Himself. And how can we do that? We can do that either by studying the scriptures on our own or asking other people. But the best prescribed way is to learn it from a bona fide teacher, spiritual master, who comes from a bona fide sampradaya, not some self-proclaimed godman or something. So we have to choose wisely from where we learn this knowledge of transcendence. Okay, when somebody is performing like, we do our day-to-day activities, then we are under the effect of illusion or maya because we identify ourselves with the body. And because we identify with ourselves with the body, then we say this is our body. As soon as a child is born, he's given a name, he's given a religion, he's given a nationality, he even gets a US passport or whatever. So he's, given a barcode, what he is, based on his body. But that is not the real identity of a person. The real identity is the eternal soul. And eternal soul is the part and parcel of Shri Krishna and is the eternal servant of Shri Krishna. And once we realize that, then is our real understanding. Everything else, we are in the illusion or maya and identifying ourselves with our material body. Then we come to the last verse of this revision, mantra number 5, and we'll all say it together. Tad ejati tan ejati, tad dure tadvantike, tad antar asya sarvasya, tad u sarvasya bahyataha. Now Ishopanishad is going to establish more and more and make our concept clearer and clearer that the Supreme Absolute Truth, Ishvara, is a person, is a personality, is not an abstract, impersonal, formless being or intelligence or some computer program. So it says the Supreme Lord walks and does not walk. He is far away, but He is very near as well. He is within everything, and yet He is outside of everything. So it's a very revolutionizing concept, and we have to think and meditate over it for some time to get. Because with our material senses, if I am here, I cannot be in the hospital. And if you are here, you cannot be at your home. Right? That's our understanding in this material world. But the Ishvara can be in any place, at any time, at many places, and at all places, in everything. So that is the concept this mantra is trying to establish. And He can be very near, and He can be very far. So if you close your eyes and think of Krishna and you speak the word of Krishna, Krishna is on your tongue instantly, is in your mind. But if you don't think of Krishna and is involved in your material activities, Krishna is very far off. He is somewhere that you can't even reach. So that is the concept. And a very slight anecdote, as we all know, that as Mother Draupadi was being disrobed in the Kaurava assembly, and Duryodhana has told Dushashan to go and get Mother Draupadi and disrobe her. So she pleaded with everybody, and this question was asked somebody by later, that why did Krishna not protect Draupadi from get-go? Why did he wait till the end? So Lord Shri Krishna describes and tells that to, I think, Mother Rukmani. And we all know that when she was being dishonored in the assembly, she first pleads to the husbands who cannot help her. Then she pleads to Bhishma Dev. Then she pleads to Dhritarashtra. But nobody can help her, and nobody comes to her rescue. In the end, she surrenders to Shri Krishna. So the moment she surrendered to Shri Krishna, Krishna appears to help her. So this is the example. Krishna says that if she had called me in the beginning, I would have been there. But she called me in the end. So this is just a small example. There are many other examples that why Krishna comes in the end, like in the Indian movies, the police always comes in the end to arrest the bad man. So that's not the case. The thing is this: if we remember Krishna, he is instantly there. And this is a very good example. Our scriptures are full of so many nuances that we don't understand. And some foolish people, as Krishna himself says, deride what Krishna does or what he, performs, as in this case. So here is a description of some of the Supreme Lord's transcendental activities executed by his inconceivable potencies. We cannot understand those by our materials, knowledge and experiences or whatever we see around us. So then again, Prabhupada's pet peeve at the Mayavadis. The Mayavadi term is, who don't know, the Mayavadis believe that the God is not a person. God is a abstract, impersonal, formless, some computer program. And they don't accept the God's personal activities or features. But the Bhagavad school, adopting the perfect conception of the Lord, which is being established in this Ishopanishad, accepts that the God is a personal. But let's not think that God is an ordinary person like us. He can come as an ordinary person and interact with us, play with the gopas and gopis. And the gopis can make him dance for one half laddu. But he is not an ordinary person, but he is a person. That's what we are trying to establish here and trying to understand. So the spiritual sky is situated far, far away. So everybody knows that Shri Krishna eternally lives in Golok Vrindavan. Even in, Vraj Vrindavan, he always lives there. He never leaves Vrindavan. But he can be anywhere in a moment, swifter than the mind or the wind. We know so many examples. We heard the story of Gajendra Moksha. In the end, when Gajendra remembers Krishna, he immediately appears and rescues him by killing the crocodile, who was none other than Yuhu, the Gandharva. And Gajendra was Indradhyumna in his previous life. So Lord appears. Even for, Prahlad Maharaj, Lord appears from the pillar. Then again people say, why did Lord let, Prahlad Maharaj suffer with those snakes, with the poison, being thrown from the cliff, being put on a fire, and why did all these questions happen? So there are answers in the scriptures he wants to endeavor to look into. And very beautifully explained and very, enlivening explanations are given. So then Srila Prabhupada describes that, people think that we are idol worshippers. And he is trying to establish here that what we worship is not an idol, it's an arch vigraha. Archa means worshipable, vigraha means form. So a deity is a worshipable form or arch vigraha of the Lord and is non-different from the Lord. It may be made of earth, stone or wood, but it not only represents Lord, but it is Lord himself. When a pran pratishtha is performed in a deity, it is the Lord that's residing in that deity. Lord is everywhere, but he is in his personal form in the deity. And it is Lord's, inconceivable mercy that he appears in the arch vigraha form for us to worship him, to serve him, and perform devotional service to him. And so therefore we should be sincere devotees and not become atheists or get influenced by the people who deride us as idol worshippers, because they do not understand. The arch vigraha is not a whimsical representation. It is very scientific and by rules and standards given the scriptures. The vigrahas are formed. They are not just dolls or figurines or stuff like that. So that is the other concept we need to get into the mind. The last concept that Prabhupada talks about is the saguna and nirguna, and this also is discussed a lot. And people talk of sagun, form of the Lord, and nirgun. Nirgun means formless, again coming to Mayavad. And Prabhupada explains that guna actually means the modes of nature. As we know, the Maya Shakti of the Lord operates with 3 strings attached to everybody, like the puppets, And those 3 things are the 3 modes of nature, which is the Sattva Guna and the Raja Guna and the Tamas Guna. And so when Nirguna is used in the sense of this Ishvara, which means one who is not affected by these 3 gunas. So Krishna, who is the creator of the Maya, cannot be under the influence of the Maya and cannot be controlled by those gunas. And that means Nirguna. And that is the real meaning of Nirguna in relationship to Krishna. And that ends the lecture for today. Any questions and comments you can ask.